You ever have one of those moments where your whole life just shatters in the space of a breath, like you blink and suddenly everything you thought was safe and good just evaporates? That's what happened to me the day Karen Williams, our self-appointed neighborhood dictator, hurled a scalding coffee pot at my 6-week-old baby's face. Yeah, you heard that right, a coffee pot. At a newborn. Shattered her tiny nose, sent my wife screaming, and set something inside me on fire that's never really gone out. See, Karen thought she was messing with another pushover, just another dad who'd bow to her HOA nonsense and lick his wounds quietly. What she didn't know was that I'm an FBI agent, 15 years deep, in taking down people who hurt families. I hunt monsters for a living, and when you come after mine, well, you better buckle up. Let me back up a second. 3 months before all that, my world looked picture perfect. My name's Marcus Thompson. I just made senior agent at the Bureau. My wife Sarah and I had finally closed on our dream house on Maple Street, quiet suburb, big oak swing sets, and every other yard, neighbors who wave. Our daughter Emma had just been born, tiny hands, blue eyes, this little cooing miracle that melted my tough guy heart. All I wanted was some peace after years of living out of suitcases, but the trouble started before we'd even unpacked. There I am sweating over a stack of boxes when this woman comes marching down the walk, bright yellow blazer, platinum bob, a face like she'd just bit into a lemon. I'm Karen Williams, president of the Maple Street Homeowners Association, she announces, holding out a badge like she's with the secret police. First words out of her mouth. We need to discuss your landscaping immediately. I just stare like, lady, I haven't even unpacked my coffee mugs. But sure, let's talk turf. She hands me this violation slip, says our grass is a 1/4 inch too long. I laughed, thinking she was joking, but her face didn't budge. Rules are rules, she snaps. That was just the opening shot. Over the next couple weeks, it's violation after violation. My mailbox was the wrong color. Our garbage can was too close to the curb. My car was angled 6 degrees off straight. Each came with a fine, each one chipping away at our nerves. Sarah tried to laugh it off at first, but postpartum depression is a beast. Add a colicky newborn and a neighborhood bully with nothing better to do, and it started to wear her down. I'd come home to find her crying, Emma screaming in her arms. Karen outside measuring our grass with a ruler for the 3rd time that week. The worst part was the isolation. Sarah tried to make friends, went to a mom's group only to be told quietly that Karen had warned everyone off. Troublemakers, she called us. Sarah came home sobbing, feeling like she was being punished for something she couldn't fix. You know what I mean? There's a helplessness that gets under your skin, turns anger into something sharp. That's when I switched gears from frustrated homeowner to investigator. Nights when my girls finally slept, I dug into Karen's past, using tools most people don't have. Turns out she'd been HOA president for 8 years, had a record of running families off the block with impossible fines and backdoor deals. I found complaints, dozens vanishing from city records like magic. Karen wasn't kidding about her connections, but she didn't know she'd finally picked the wrong family. I started building a file. Bank records, phone logs, emails, you name it. I wanted to nail her, but I kept it quiet. Then everything exploded at the HOA meeting. Sarah wanted to speak for herself, stand up to Karen in front of the whole neighborhood. I respected that she needed to reclaim something Karen had taken from her. So there we were, 30 people packed in the community center, Karen holding court at her little podium. Sarah stood up, voice shaking but steady, and told the room about the harassment, the isolation, the postpartum depression. Karen didn't flinch. She doubled down. Maybe you should move, she snapped, if you can't handle civilized neighborhoods. Even her supporters looked uncomfortable, but Karen wasn't finished. Out of nowhere, in a moment of pure rage, she grabbed the big metal coffee pot from the table, still steaming hot, and hurled it straight at Sarah and Emma. The crash. Sarah's scream, Emma's wail. I can still hear it, blood pouring from my baby's nose. Sarah crumpled on the floor, the whole room frozen. Jenny, the one mom brave enough to talk to Sarah, was the first to move, screaming for someone to call 911. Karen, she just sneered and muttered, she shouldn't have brought a baby. That's when everything snapped into focus for me. The police didn't take it seriously at first. Accident during a heated argument, they said. Karen Williams is well respected, maybe it got out of hand. I realized right then she'd built her little empire on fear and favors. but she had no idea who she was up against. That night, I called Lisa Rodriguez, my FBI partner. I want to open an investigation, public corruption, the works. Give me 30 days. She tried to talk me down, said I was too close. I just looked at my baby girl, face swollen and bruised, and promised her I'd make it right. For 3 weeks, I hunted like a man possessed. Tracked down families Karen had driven off, elderly couples, immigrants, young parents, every story the same: relentless fines, threats, forced sales. Then came the bombshell. Karen and her family were flipping the foreclosed homes, scamming the city, and cutting in half the town officials for kickbacks. Her whole family was in on it: husband, sister, brother-in-law, all playing their parts. But the final twist, the kind that makes your blood run cold, was hidden in Karen's past. 2 decades earlier, she'd been fired and quietly prosecuted for abusing children at a daycare, record sealed, but not to the FBI. That coffee pot wasn't a freak out. It was who she'd always been. With Lisa's help, I set up a sting: undercover agents posing as a new family, hidden mics, the works. Karen took the bait, harassing them just like she'd done to us, even plotting to file false abuse claims. When we had everything: phone calls, bank statements, witness interviews, we moved in. 23 agents, 11 locations. One morning, Karen was arrested in her kitchen, coffee in hand. Her whole network, husband, council members, even the police chief, hauled in on conspiracy, fraud, corruption, child abuse. I was there when Karen opened the door, face full of arrogance. That look vanished when I flashed my badge. "You picked the wrong family, Karen." She tried to bluff, then to cry, then to blame everyone but herself. When it hit her, she couldn't squirm out. She broke down, confessed to it all, said she was just protecting the neighborhood. Even then, when I asked about Emma, she shrugged. "Kids don't belong at HOA meetings." No remorse. None. The trial was headline news: FBI agent's baby attacked by corrupt HOA president, the works. I testified for days, showed the jury every ounce of evidence. Karen got 25 years in federal prison, no parole, millions in restitution. Her family all went away too. And with the rot cleaned out, our neighborhood finally healed. Jenny became HOA president, threw out Karen's rules, welcomed back families who'd been forced out, and for the first time, our block felt like a real community. Sarah started a support group for new moms, and even through the scars, Emma grew into a happy, wild little thing, her laugh filling the house that once echoed with fear. But the story didn't end there. 6 months after the trial, I got a letter from a woman across the country. Her HOA president was pulling the same tricks, targeting families and driving them out. "Can you help us?" she asked. And we did. Exposed another ring, then another. Turns out Karen wasn't alone. There are bullies hiding behind HOA rules everywhere, counting on people to stay quiet. Last twist, a call from the federal prison. Karen, now enemy number one inside, wanted to talk, said she had information. I told the warden no thanks. She'll live out her days in misery, never understanding why the world finally turned against her. So yeah, I think about revenge, about whether I pushed too hard. But it was never about getting even. It was about justice for Emma, for every family Karen ever hurt. Evil wins when good people do nothing. I made a choice, and because of it, dozens of families are safe. If you're out there thinking your HOA badge makes you untouchable, let this story be your wake-up call. You never know who you're messing with. And if you're someone who's suffering under a bully like Karen, remember, you don't have to take it. Fight back. Because sometimes the good guys really do win. Now let's get real. Who do you think was more in the wrong, Karen? With her rules, or the families who tried to fight back? Would you have kept quiet or stood up and risked it all? I want to hear your stories. Drop them in the comments. Let's talk about what justice really means in a place that's supposed to be home.